What is up, guys? It's Steven here from GameSmart, back with another TFT VOD review, another Keepers game. Some people were talking to me and asking, hey, it looked good, why aren't you coming in first? Well, the last Keepers game I've posted, we didn't really hit our build quite as well as we would have liked to, or quite as hard as we would have liked to, and the lobby was pretty strong. So I've got another game today showing you what happens when things go right. Anyways, let's hop right into the VOD. Feel free to check out my last video. Link is in the description for more in-depth discussion about positioning and itemization. Let's get to it, guys. Alright, here we are in game, guys. If you're enjoying the video, please feel free to like and subscribe. As well, while you're here, please comment down below what games you might like to see a Get GameSmart video on next, or if there's any way, any type of content specific to TFT or a different game that you'd love to see in the channel. So we get pretty fortunate here. We actually receive both a natural 3-star duelist and a cultist chosen Elise, both of which are pretty strong contenders to what to do with our first 3 gold. We like to take the natural 2-star, which is just really strong. In an ideal world, we would get both of these things because together they can be a really good start. So I mean, if we don't get coins here, we're thinking about potentially locking the shop just because we've managed to get a Vigar. So we actually do get both of these things. So Elise Cultist Chosen is one of the strongest early chosens that you can get. The reason being that she has the Keeper trait, which works really well with Cultist. And the fact that you can just throw one other cultist in there and you have a really strong opener. So we've got the TF in there to activate the cultist trait, along with our 2-star Yasuo. So we're off to the races, really. We've got a GA sitting on our bench, which is pretty good flexible item. Or either way, we know we're gonna, yeah, we're likely gonna slam the GA there, guys, at 2-1, just because it's a really good item. Other than that, just trying to eco early or staying flexible by buying the shop. Can't make eco, so we'll stay flexible. So in the early game, regardless of what comp you're playing, it's always important to just try and play the strongest board. So can be pretty overwhelming for newer players, but really it's all about just getting some early synergies out there early. Cultist is a really strong one, so getting 3 cultist players, or 2 if you have the cultist chosen, is a really simple and easy way to get a strong board out early. So another thing that you want to do is, if you're leveling up, if you're feeling pretty confident and you want to level up to 4 at 2-1, which is the first PvP round, as it were, then you also want to try and slam items. So the thought process is either you want to both slam items and level up, or do neither and stay more flexible but a little bit weaker. And we can see that our board is quite strong, making good impact and letting the other people feel us and be a bit concerned. So we're sitting quite pretty early on. And like I said, the importance of this keeper chosen, this cultist chosen keeper, and then Elise, is that we get to throw in this keeper trait. So keeper cultist is one of the strongest early openers you can go with. The reason for that, guys, is that cultist is all about the Galio that gets called down when your team reaches 50% HP. So that damage is flat, and the keeper shields doesn't contribute to it. So keepers give a flat shield. Let's say your team has 2,000 XP, or 8 health points. Galio is going to get called down when your team's taking 1,000 damage. Your keepers might be shielding for 1,000 damage, so Galio gets called down when your team is all full health, effectively. And it just puts you at a pretty strong advantage over what a lot of boards are able to do early. Oh, I just had to change some settings here, so the screen is flickering a little bit. This should come back. Yeah, it comes back pretty quickly. Sorry about that, guys. I was playing around with some settings while I was recording, but this was a pretty fun game, so I wanted to use the VOD anyways. So like I said, we get to just plug in one other cultist player, so we'll take out the TF as soon as we've got the Pike that adds a lot more utility with his area of effect stun. He brings a lot of CC. That's just a lot more impact than the TF is going to have. And yeah, we're sitting pretty. We're trying to win streak the early game. So putting out our strongest board and making sure our items are off the bench puts us in a pretty strong position to do so. The cannon does a lot of work early. In an ideal world, I would have my needlessly large rod on my cannon rather than the Elise, but I mean, at the same time, I was getting more value out of it in the first 2 rounds to have it slammed on the Elise, so yes, in this round it would be better having it on the cannon, but it's not about making the perfect decisions in hindsight. TFT is more about making the statistically correct decision, or right decision, at the earlier time. Okay, so at this point I'm typing, I'm so unbelievably bad at this game, or something to that effect, because prior to this carousel, I sold off my entire bench trying to make eco, but I only went to 9. So I lost all my flexibility of the units on my bench, and I didn't quite sell the Tristan in time, so I don't actually get the benefit of making economy. And then on top of that, if I didn't want to make econ, I could have instead pre-leveled, because I know I'm going to level at 2-5 here because I'm win streaking, and I want to continue to try and win streak. So yeah, I was just flaming myself in chat, because I mean, honestly, this game is really difficult to play perfectly. Even like the super competitive high-level players, like tournament level players, are making mistakes, and if they claim not to, then they don't understand the game as well as they could perhaps. But I think a lot of the top players are actually really humble, and it's just because like this game's so hard. It's more about making it's more about playing the odds rather than being right every time, if that makes sense. Or I think that's at least the way you have to look at this game if you want to improve, because it's so easy to nitpick at decisions you could have made with the benefit of hindsight. But that's unfair to yourself, and I mean, no sense beating yourself up over it twice. Anyways, so we do pick up the Yasuo pair just on the off chance that we do hit a natural 3-star Yasuo. I'm not really thinking that's going to happen. I've already got the Elise chosen, so it's not like I'm going to grab a duelist chosen Yasuo or something. But, you know, staying open to the possibility. I can't make the next ring of eco without selling off my Jarvan as well, and I'm thinking about keepers already at this point, because if you look at my items, I've already got the GA in place. Well, not in place on my cannon, but I've already got it on my board, as well as I've got call it a latent Morellonomicon with the rod and the Giant's Belt slammed separately. Of course, I would love to have the Morello on my cannon right now, but the benefit of the cultist Elise chosen is too much to sell it over and play hot potato with the item. Maybe some players might disagree with that, but I don't think it's the right choice yet. I want to keep that chosen a little bit longer. So we're playing up against another pretty strong board here. They've also got the Cultist Chosen, and they've got both Callista in as well as the Kindred. Kindred's a really strong skirmishing backline champion early on, so they've definitely got a strong board, but the reality is we've just got an item difference here. We've got a GA slam plus 2 more components, and he's got all of his components on his bench. So if you're climbing right now and you're wondering, hey, why am I not able to win streak reliably? If you're not slamming your items, you can't expect to win streak. So that's just the reality. You can definitely get away with it until like gold just by playing stronger boards than a lot of people are able to find, but it still won't be reliable, and you're definitely going to have to just get used to playing your items, not as soon as you get them necessarily, but pretty soon after, to get more value out of them. Yeah, you might not win the game, but because you might not have BIS items, and you need almost perfect items to win a lot of lobbies the higher you get up. But you're definitely going to top 4 a lot more, and that's equally important. So we end up getting a bow here, which is not super useful, as well as another chain vest. So we could slam the Sunfire, but that's pretty bad actually on Kennen. We want to keep those slots open for something else. So we actually are just going to greed our items here. We're in a pretty good spot. We're going to level up to 6 on 3-1, which is very aggressive, because there's one other undefeated player in our lobby. and we are this Pila Foreskin guy, and we're preparing to go against him potentially. So yeah, we're making our board as strong as we can. We're throwing in all of our components. We've got our Callista in there now. We've got 3 duelists, not great, but it's something. And unfortunately, we don't draw Pila Foreskin. We draw somebody else, but this person also has a pretty strong board, and we're still happy. We can't be too mad that we leveled up there, because we still get to make 2 rings of eco at level 6 at 3-1, so that's pretty good. We would have liked to play against Pila Foreskin, because I don't think he actually leveled up at 3-1, so we may have had a chance to beat him there, but such is life. We just looked at Pila Foreskin's board as well, and we're just trying to sweat our positioning a little bit. If you're ever in a position where you think there's only one other board that can beat you when you're win streaking, or there's one board that you're afraid of when you're quite low on health, for example, and there's like one hard counter to you, definitely go and look at their board and try to nitpick your positioning so that it's more effective against that board. It's just a one way to get an advantage on your lobby. So again, unfortunately, we draw 1 wasted cat instead of Pila Foreskin, but whatever. We're can't be too upset with continuing our win streak here. We've got the perfect 100% from the first 7 rounds here. Definitely a comfortable position to be sitting in. Unfortunately, Pila Foreskin has just hit 6 cultists, so we actually don't want to run into him anymore, because I don't think that this board's going to beat that necessarily until we hit another spike here. Yeah, nothing really here for us. We pick up the TF that we'd sold earlier to make eco, and we realize there actually is a stronger board here, throwing in 4 keeper. Because I thought I needed Jackson for the duelist for Callista, but because I'm not used to running this random 2-star Yasuo with this composition. So yeah, we can take out the Jax. Probably could sell the Jax here to get the Chain Dust on him and just throw it on like the Yasuo or something. That'd probably be smart. Again, I am watching this video with the benefit of hindsight as well, so we're talking about all these things that we could do. It's a lot easier to do these VODs retrospectively, because there's so many little like micro decisions that you're making throughout the game. It's definitely hard to capture them in real time. But I do. This game wasn't too long ago, so I do recall a lot of the thought process that was going through my mind while I was doing these things. Here, for example, I'm just looking to grab a rod because I want another rod for my cannon. I've got one on the Elise, but I want a second because you usually, well, first of all, because I actually get to play this one, slam the Morello Nomicon, which is big. But second, you want another one for Ionic Spark, usually. And due to high rolling the Sivir here, not really high rolling, I guess, but picking up the Sivir gives us 6 cultist, almost, yeah, barely get it in time. Fat fingered the Twisted Fate rather than the Callista there, or rather the other way around. Able to sell off the Yasuo though, get our GA in the right place on our cannon, and we are really off to the races here. We've got 6 cultists in at 3-5, and like 6 cultists is one of those boards that can carry you through round 4, basically. Like, you're not going to win streak through round 4 unless you're maybe like have like a Runaan's down on your Callista, have like a Callista 2 or something, and or like a Vladimir Chosen or something. Like, that might cause you to win streak through round 4, but probably not. But at the same time, you like don't need to roll down at level 7. I'm a little mad here because his Cultist 6 just beat my Cultist 6, and then I pick up the 2-star Callista. If I would have had that, it would have been over. So unfortunately, Pila Foreskin is the person that gets to remain Mr. 100. I get knocked down a peg, as it were. but that's okay. We're still in a pretty good spot at 97 health at 3-6 with pretty good econ. Yeah, full econ, level 6. Like we've been slow leveling a bit to get ready for level 7, so it shouldn't be a huge hit to our econ. And yeah, we're sitting pretty with Cultist 6. We're looking around. It looks like there's one other player that's probably going for keepers here. This is our own board. I remember I was pretty ticked that I got the Callista 2, the shop window after losing to that guy. High rolling an Aatrox here is huge. Lets me take out the useless TF and actually start to set up my lineup. So not only is Aatrox huge for the Cultist tag, obviously, but Aatrox is so important to running a keeper build. So high rolling him at level 6 here is phenomenal. We want to get him in right away. And that actually triggers me to, rather than playing around my Callista in the corner here, we're going into the more traditional keeper setup, even though I've only got 2 keepers in right now. So another cannon out of an orb here is pretty nice, but honestly, items are pretty bad for the build I want. The second bow is pretty much useless to me. Like you really want one bow in this build for a static shiv, which I could slam right now. But I'm also thinking about holding on to that tier for a Hodge. Yeah, so there's a lot of things going through my mind. Leveling there is really bad, but such is life. Yeah, I do elect to slam the static shiv and the second bow. Shiv is really good. It's going to go on my Azir later. That's just like the normal itemization. You can also throw it on a Xayah, but I like to keep my Xayah spots open. Yeah, and we reforge, get another bow here, so we figure, hey, we already have our 1 bow item that we need, and we have 2 more bows, may as well use them together, get an RFC. It's going to make this Callista pretty strong, actually. In the early games, doing a lot of damage, a lot of damage, even more than our Morello cannon right now. Finally get that chain vest off. And I should slam that into a Sunfire on the Rakan is the play with that. Actually, I think I hold on. I'm continuing to greed it because I really want a second GA for what my Xayah will hold. I'm using the Callista as a item holder right now for both Xayah and Azir, which will slot in later into this comp. Yeah. Definitely could be argued that I should be slamming this Sunfire right now, but let's see if I lose these rounds. Let's see if it was a worthwhile greed. And when we talk about greedy plays, it's never really whether they're like, there's no greedy play. It's like a probability play. It's either you made the right play or the wrong play. Nothing's like greedy, but yeah, I end up losing this, so I think slamming the Sunfire probably would have turned the tides there, and allowed me to win streak. I wasn't on a huge win streak, so it's not the end of the world, but just something if we're not criticizing our own play, it's really difficult to make improvements. And well, not necessarily criticizing, but critiquing. So because I slammed the RFC, it gives my Callista super far range, so I decide to corner it again, at least until I get 4 keepers in, just because the shields aren't quite strong enough to frontline my 1-star cannon right now. So while we definitely talk about like the optimal positioning and like the best things to do and how you should frontline your cannon with your Aatrox here and stuff there, the actual optimal positioning is going to change throughout the game, right? So it's like, yeah, maybe at stage 8 or whatever, when you have that ideal comp, that's what you're going to be running. But up until that point, and even at that point, it's really fluid. And actually, in the end of this game, we only end up winning because we do some pretty creative stuff with our. Yeah, we get creative with our positioning towards the end. So spoiler alert, but it's pretty exciting. So definitely stay tuned. But at this point, we are very comfortable. Can't expect to get anything off of this carousel really, because we're last pick. Yeah, we are eyeing up that sword would be the best to slam a GA, and we are actually able to grab that, I believe. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, sword to slam the GA is not only going to make my board a lot stronger right now, because my Callista is carrying the board right now and gets a GA, but it's also fits perfectly into our build that we're looking towards a little bit down the road at stage 5 and stage 6. Yeah, so I was pretty wealthy here. I managed to econ pretty early, and that lets me go up to a fast 8, and I figure a fast 8 I'm going to be able to roll for some of my key units pretty much less contested, because I noticed there was another keeper player in the lobby, so I figured 3-star cannon was probably out of the equation, because they already had like 4 or 5 cannons on their bench at this point. So I was thinking, you know what, I'll at least get Xayah and Azir before them, hopefully hit 6 keeper before them, maybe 2-star my Aatrox before they're seriously rolling for it. That was sort of my game plan at this point in the game, was just to roll at level 8 before the other keeper player, and forego the 3-star cannon, which is your typical win condition with this build. And there's the Sejuani, so that's perfect. It will slot in, and this is a really good shop actually. Lets me finish off my Kennen 2 as well as the Sivir 2, which for now is quite a big power spike actually for me. As well as the Sejuani from the previous shop was going to let me fit in my Vanguard trait very, very nicely. Vanguard, Sejuani, and Aatrox, super good combo. It's best frontline in the game. It works in literally any comp that needs a frontline. Just plug and play those 2 units and you're going to have a good time. So this Kale build is looking pretty scary. Got pretty good items, the RFC and the QSS on the Kale, but still just a 1-star Kale, so I'm going to clean it up pretty easily. We just hit that big spike with Kennen 2, Sivir 2 after all. So we're at 4-7 here, so we're on the Raptors, and we're finally selling off our cultist keeper. We actually held on to that a while, our cultist chosen at least. And the idea being now that we're going to play for our late game at level 8 is like the best time to roll for your carries, your chosens too, sorry. As my Grandmaster friend Wanaki Griffith messaging me, he just got a 2nd in his Grandmaster lobby. He was pretty excited about that. I was watching his stream. He's got a killer stream, guys. Twitch TV, Wanaki Griffith. Yeah, definitely check him out. He's the guy that taught me how to play, and he is a fantastic teacher. So here we're at 5-1. We should definitely be slamming these items. We got some really, really huge high rolls, and we did tell you guys we were going to level 8 early in order to roll for our Xayah. We did not expect to hit a 2-star Xayah at 5-1, so this is puts us in an awesome position. We grief ourselves there by not grabbing that Elise, because we kind of need an Elise because we just sold our chosen one. If this was a Vanguard Sejuani, I definitely would have taken it, but instead I'm rewarded with the Executioner Xayah. We've now got 6 Xayahs on our bench, guys. Like, this is pretty big at 5-1. We are just starting round 5, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm probably looking at 3-star Xayah this game. Despite the fact that there's another keeper player, I'm thinking I might actually have a reality of 3-star Xayah, which is a very strong unit, for sure. So yeah, we rolled down right to 20 gold there, and we don't feel bad about it in the slightest. I mean, it would have been nice to actually stick at 20 gold there, but and we could have done that by selling the Callista turn earlier. But yeah, now we've got 5 keepers in. We, like I said, griefed ourselves because we didn't pick up that Elise. That should be out there instead, but you know what? Such is life. We're living. We got a pair of both of our Vanguards, so we've got a lot of outs between Jarvan 2, Sejuani 2, Aatrox 2, and when I say an out, what I mean by that is something that you're rolling for, some champion that could appear in your shop that would improve the strength of your board. It would give you a way out of the current state of your board. So yeah, basically anytime you have a pair, if you're just missing one more unit for a synergy, those are examples of outs. So usually you want a GA and a Hodge on your Xayah. Unfortunately, we haven't seen any Crit Gloves yet. Don't think we've seen any at all. Yeah, that is true. And so we've got the RFC and the GA on there. So it's not ideal, but Xayah 2-star chosen executioner is pretty strong even without the Hodge. The reason the Hodge is good is because it allows her healing to, it allows her ult and her abilities to heal, and when she rolls healing, she's almost unkillable. Because she goes invulnerable when she uses her ability, and during that time she's healing. So you do damage to her, that lets her use her ability, the ability makes her invulnerable and heals her, you do damage to her, the cycle repeats. Unfortunately, yeah, no Hodges yet, but still doing a pretty mean work with that, just the RFC as the damage item there. And that Pila Foreskin guy that beat us off our win streak is now falling down the ladder a little bit. He's still got 5 eco, he hasn't rolled at all. I'm a pretty big fan of rolling early, rather than greeding for economy, just like hitting your roll a little bit earlier. You're going to be rolling before everybody else has pulled the champions that you want out of the champion pool, and it's going to give you some health to survive when people start falling out of the lobby. People are like, oh, I want to greed for the extra 3-4 gold. Sure, you can do it, but it's not worth it the majority of the time. And like we said, this game is more about making the correct decision based on the probability rather than the perfect decision with the benefit of hindsight. There was a lot of items on that carousel we wanted, including a Hodge, but obviously when you're this healthy at round 5, you're not going to get the item you want. But we end up picking up a Bramble, which we're just going to throw onto our Aatrox here. Throw it onto Aatrox because we want him to survive and get the casts off, because again, he's so crucial to this comp because he pulls the carries in towards the cannon, which makes it like really, really strong. Gets the damage where it needs to go. So yeah, we're sitting on a lot of outs here, and that's kind of the reason I continue to roll down at 20 gold here. Usually you might want to like continue to econ back up to 50 kind of thing, but I need one more Xayah, I need one more Sejuani, one more Aatrox, one more Azir. All of these things would give me pretty big power spikes, so I'm just continuing to roll down to 20 gold. Unless you're really desperate, you shouldn't roll down past like 10 gold. You shouldn't really roll down past like 20 gold unless you're on your way out basically in the next 2 rounds. Just because it does give you a huge advantage for econ. That being said, when you're losing and when you're bleeding out quickly, you gotta roll. You gotta just bite the bullet and make improvements. So continuing here to just pick up all the keepers we see. Yeah, kind of sad because we are so close to such an explosive power spike. But at this point, the lobby is actually still extremely close. We've done well to keep ourselves healthy, but we've still got 7 players in the game. Half of them are single-digit health, so things are about to start popping off. This guy's got, he doesn't have great items on the Akali. Is the only reason the 3-star Akali isn't that scary. Still blue buff, Giant Slayer, Titanic, still scary for sure. But oh yeah, and that's actually going to be enough. The 3 lockets on it's providing enough of a front line to take us out there. So yeah, this is a pretty strong lobby. Like people are starting to hit. We're this deep into, like we're at the end of round 5 here. Finally hit that 3-star Xayah. This is a massive power spike, guys. I've never had a 3-star Xayah. I'm messaging my buddy about it because I'm jazzed. I thought there was a real possibility that it might not actually be hittable because there's still another keeper player in the lobby. They've got a couple Xayahs on their bench. Yeah, he's telling me good game already. I'm thinking I'm still not quite as convinced with just because the items aren't perfect on it. If I had a Hodge, I'd be feeling a lot better. Unfortunately, not the case, but still, 3-star Xayah is gonna definitely secure us a top 4 here. Throw the Chalice down on the Aatrox, the idea being to give Aatrox more mana to get the first pull off earlier and to give more spell power to the cannon. I could have also thrown it on the Rakan and put the Xayah in the second row beside it. Would have been another good option as well. But I'm thinking, actually, since I've got the RFC on the Xayah, I'm going to put her in the third row. And she's also pretty tanky at 3-star, like weirdly tanky, because she's just got like a lot of like flat health. So I figure if the assassins want to hit her early between the shield and just being 3 stars, she's not going to get insta one tapped by the Akali. Yeah, this 3-star Xayah is putting in a lot of work. Just brute forcing. Oh, just kidding. Brute forcing the team down, but 2-star Kayle is pretty strong though too. And because I saw that Kayle player is pretty strong and they beat me, they've already got 2-star Kayle. I'm going to make sure they're not getting 3-star Kayle, so I end up picking up the Kayle pair there. Take out the Sejuani just to get the Ornn in. I'm pretty healthy, so I am going to try and greed for 1 Ornn item. I don't think I'm going to be taken out in the next 4 rounds. And I'm going to finish the Ornn item actually just before the melee round, the NPC round, which is unfortunate, but because I don't think I'll be in a position to greed for a second Ornn item, so it's a wasted round, but such is life. Yeah, the 3-star Xayah is just too much for a lot of teams to handle. We're starting this Shime guy that we just played against is the other keeper player. He had 3-star Kennen, 3-star Rakan, but only a 1-star Xayah, so sorry buddy, sending you to the Shadow Realm. Our 3-star Xayah did more damage than your entire team. That looks actually a bit weird, but it's because damage done to shields doesn't get reflected in damage done meters. Not sure if you viewers at home knew that or not, but if you ever play against a keeper's player and realize it looks like all of your players did no damage, it's because you just did damage to shields. Here we are, we have knocking out the Xayah guy. We have secured us a spot in the final 4, the top 4, and we're just sweating our positioning a little bit. We were looking at where the carries were to try and get our Aatrox on the correct side. Aatrox is on the correct side, unfortunately doesn't matter because QSS is the counter to Aatrox, so we do not pull the Tristana there, despite having our positioning correct. And that's why QSS is so important, guys, on your reroll Tristana builds, on your Kales, on your even on ASOL, especially if you don't have a GA. Just so important to not have your carry get pulled into the middle of the waiting enemy team. So yeah, we may have found ourselves in the top 4 here, but none of these boards want to get knocked out. The thing about Diamond players is they do not want you to take their elo. Nobody goes down early, nobody goes down easy. Yeah, and we end up picking up just the Elderwood Spat here. There's not a lot of great items on that carousel, so unfortunately we're still the last pick. That's the curse of first. Always last pick, but yeah, the Elderwood Spat definitely gives value, and yeah, that's just going to make our Azir carry a little bit tankier. I was thinking about putting it on the Xayah because she is 3-starred, but I really wanted to hold out hope for a Hodge, basically, off of the next minion round. We do go up to level 9, throw in our 3rd Vanguard. A Vanguard Spat would be great. That was actually what I wanted off the last carousel. Would have also thrown it on the Azir. Could have thrown it on the Xayah to make her super tanky as well. Especially at 3 stars, like I said. But yeah, unfortunately we end up with the Elderwood Spat, and that's still working for us. So I'm probably most concerned about this not perfect item, but pretty good item Kayle player. But fortunately rather, he gets knocked out here. So it's just me and Wasted Cat. And I hit the level 2 Azir here, and I'm suddenly feeling really damn good about myself. But at the same time, this guy's got a scary Spirit Sharpshooter build. Like 2-star Samira with those items is no joke. Last Whisper and GA is no joke. And the 3-star Tristana with pretty perfect items as well. Fortunately, I don't have a ton of armor, but the scariest part about this guy's team, actually, is the fact that he has 2 Shrouds. and he gets a massive shroud over pretty much my entire team, and he really messes me up with that. So unfortunately, these shrouds, yeah, they're no joke in the late game, guys. Especially good off against a keeper team that's all bunched up like this. And he hurts. I let him know. I say nice shrouds, because he got me good with that one. No joke, no joke. Fortunately, we get around to collect ourselves during the minions here. We say, hey, we get a last whisper. Is that gonna really do anything? Nope. But the Trinity Force, that might. Or Infinity Force, I guess it is in TFT. I like how they play off each other, League of Legends and TFT. Just using of all the same assets is great. It's given us a great game at a low cost. No complaints there. But yeah, this Last Whisper is really not going to do much against this guy's team. He has no armor, so I'm actually going to opt instead for the Zephyr. And I'm going to grief myself by throwing it on the Lee Sin that I really want to position correctly, rather than, I should put this Zephyr in the bottom right corner right now. That would knock up his Tristana at the very start, and it would probably secure me the win, like, instantly. It'd be super easy. Instead, I'm sweating my positioning. Basically, I'm trying to not let him shroud both my Azir and my Xayah, so that one of them will get their casts off. He actually still gets two really good shrouds off. And that's going to make this very close indeed. Yeah, he's not moving his Tristana at all, so I did just get the Zephyr from a Reforge, so I should have thought that out better, but still, changing up my positioning a bit, definitely threw him for a bit of a loop, and I believe I pull off the same maneuver here, where I'm just trying to actually hit some big frontline upgrades, which is nice. Level 2 Recon finally. Those are useless, but we'll grab them. Yeah, basically I'm just trying to not let him get my entire team. So I'm trying to, like, I know that he's watching my board right now, so I'm trying to just kind of show him something. So I don't like his shrouds here right next to each other, especially because one of my Lee Sin Zephyr knocks it up. But yeah, this is he beat me when he had good shrouds, and now here's an example of when he has bad shrouds, and it is not even very close. See, not even very close. Not close at all. Anyways, we were able to secure the win, and yeah, I was really happy to show you guys this game. Really appreciate all the support. Please like and subscribe, comment down below anything else you'd like to see on the channel, and yeah, till next time, guys, take it easy. Cheers.